So you can't get Wi-Fi. It's too thick of walls. This bronze vase and thin bronze sheet tell us stories of everyday life of the Iron Age people, their traditions, costumes, and rituals. You really can't see it, but there's stuff on there. Stone tools, 4500 BC, axes. This is the oldest wheel and axle ever found in the world. It's a reconstruction. The original's in Ljubljana Museum. The oldest wheel and axle ever found in the world was here. It was the wheel was ash, the axle was oak, and it was from the second batch of people that lived here. The first batch of people, also the oldest flute in the world, 45,000 years ago, was found in Slovenia as well. So they, hey, we know that clown. 2nd century. Again, the original is kept at the National Museum of Slovenia. And like, this is the castle, man. This is layered rock, turrets. That's an evacuation plan. So this is the museum, right? And you don't stream people here without their permission. So I've noticed. Ancient plow. This must be the document from 1300, from 1100, that mentions the Ljubljana castle for the first time. I can't even read. How should I know? It's Latin. This is clay pottery, 10th, 15th century. This is again the settlers of the castle. I'm not entirely sure what that is. Statues of monks, Ljubljana sculpture workshop, 15th century. These are copies also. The originals are in Slovenian churches around the country. Coat of arms of Herman II of Sealy. Huh. What a long, strange trip it's been. What in the world? A naked child, a skeleton, a shepherd with one leg, a wooden leg, a skeleton, some kind of troubadour, a skeleton, a monk, a thief. Is he pickpocketing the skeleton? Not entirely sure what the purpose of these is, but what a long, strange trip it's been. Busted down on Bourbon Street. That's incredible. Ancient horseshoes from the time of the Turkish invasions, 15th, 17th century. I wonder how the horses loved having them drilled onto their feet. Stone coat of arms of Ivan Lenkovic, commander of the Usaks. They must have been conquerors. Axes from the Turkish invasions and peasant revolts, 15th through 17th century. Bet it would hurt to get hit by one of them. I love this painting. It's bizarre. What's up? What are those skeletons about?
It's called the Death of the Dance. Dance of the Death.
Dance of the Death.
And you can see that everyone is dancing with the skeleton towards the grave at the other side, the right side. And on the left one, you have a bit more unfortunate people. You see a beggar and
one leg.
and also a child. And on the other side, they are getting more and more rich, a bishop, a king, and so on.
Right.
The point is that everyone is going to die no matter how much money you have. You can see that some of them are trying to put some money to the skeleton.
Yes, I saw that.
Yeah.
Okay, so she was kind enough to explain the meaning of this. This is called the Dance of Death, and if you go from left to right, the people increase in importance, so to speak. This is a naked child, a person with one leg, some kind of troubadour. Here, this person is trying to buy off death. He's trying to give the skeleton money, and the people obviously that person's trying to maybe buy, but the skeleton's taking them to die, and they're all marching toward a grave, and they're getting more and more important. Here's a bishop, here's a queen, here's the king, a duke or a king, and yet they're all, and there's the shovel, and at the end of the day, everyone is going to die, and he's pointing at the grave. That's where the king is headed. This is the most interesting thing I have seen in Ljubljana. I must say, that is a wonderful, fascinating painting. Thank you for the explanation. Primož Trubar. So there are further steps up somewhere. Thank you. And this Laibach is the original name of Ljubljana. It was also called that by the Germans during the occupation. And of course, it's named after certain rock bands named after them as well. Corinthia was also called Coronira. This is the Gauls were here. There were Celts here. These are ancient maps. Map of Goriza, Karst, Carniola, Istria, and Slovenian marks Wolfgang Lazius, 1572. Corinthia, mid-18th century. Map of the Carniola Dukedom, Slovenian marks in Istria, 1715, and finally 1650. They are original. The Holy Trinity, 1721, Francesco Aroba. Yes. Shall we go up? That's an archer's hole. The archer could get in there and shoot out of that and have a reasonable chance of not getting shot. Called a keyhole arch as well for obvious reasons. Ted Thompson can freely weigh in on that. So we're in this modernized section here where they've put in a few metal steps. That's the archer's hole, and I guess that's where the archer hung out and fired away. Don't know how he got up there, but that is an archer's hole. So you have more for employees only. Do not go that way. And so we're outside the side I came in on right here. This is the parking lot. That's where I walked illegally through the courtyard. You can see another archer's hole across from me there, about halfway up below that window. So they were all in strategic locations, because the one below me, boy, I mean, try crossing this courtyard, you're going to get slashed to death by the crossfire. Some kind of weird iron hooks sticking out of the building. So it's unreal. The walls are a minimum of 2.5 feet thick. Who knows how old this timber is? You can actually see daylight through the window. I bet it's cold in here. Hello, how you doing? So, well, that's Tito. He was a liberator. He liberated Yugoslavia from the Germans and Italians, right? And he was emperor. He was the ruler of Yugoslavia for quite some time. So we'll have to take a picture of him when we're done for Mr. Wachter. The puppets are famous in Slovenia. Part of a partisan puppet theater at which the end of 1944 work began operating in the liberated territory of the Dolenjska region. And he looks like a soldier, you know. I have no idea what that thing is. The Slovenians were interned in all major concentration camps in Europe. The internees camps in Yugoslavia were marked with the letter J. And there's some homemade chess pieces, it looks like. More homemade chess pieces. It's an extremely, extremely disturbing image. So the Nazis used this place as a jail, obviously. Radio apparatus, late 20s. Ljubljana got a radio station in 1928. 1920. After conducting contact between the Kingdom of Serbs, Croats, and Slovenes in Italy in November 1920, several 100,000 Slovenes and Croats remained on the Italian side of the so-called Rapallo border, a boundary stone between the Kingdom of Serbs, Croats, and Slovenes and the Kingdom of Italy. The J means Slovene, I guess. Slavic. Kraji Alexander, 1938. I cannot imagine what that is. Oh my. A life full of worries has begun. Peter Naglick, My Life in World War. This machine gun Schwarzlose MGM-07./12 made in Austria was one of the most distinctive weapons in the fronts of World War I. What a piece. Strongmen of Slovenia. Look at the chest on that dude. Found in the iron foundry of Devor, mid-19th century. Napoleon was hanging out. This is an 1853 map. Napoleon Bonaparte, French emperor, who in 1809 created the Illyrian provinces. They say I have a Napoleon complex. Anybody in here confirm that? We've got clocks. In the capital society, time became the equivalent of money. The clock became an equally important device as the steam engine. And one of these clocks is priceless, undoubtedly. In 1945 through 1991, it was a socialist country, as you know. It was ran by Yugoslavia. That's a little disappointing. Olympic torch. Tomas Kolbalari VS50K moped, 1957, the earlier Slovenian post-war product of our own development, which satisfied the needs of a developing consumer society. Helmets of the Yugoslav People's Army. Coat of arms of the Socialist Republic of Slovenia from Tito's residence. Determine the western border of Slovenia. This is private property. It's the coat of arms from the guy that signed the treaty. A bust of Edward Kargel, designer of the system of socialistic self-management, hoped that Yugoslavia would bring a successful self-management socialist development has proved to be unjustified. It's because it doesn't work. It's because eventually you take, hey, I got that gun, just about. Weapons and inscriptions from the Slovenian independence. Well, it looks just like an SK. That's an air-powered, it's not an SK, but it's darn near one. That's a, wow. Yeah. These people dig their weaponry, man. Take the camera off, and we are going to give some pictures of this. Now, Bob Wachter wants some pictures of Tito, so that's the museum. And we're going to kick the phone off, and we'll take a few photos. Slovenian Museum of History.